hybrid car, this is the car that you see no matter what, store you go to, what dealership, you are going to see a Prius and they're going to recommend it to you. The Prius alone, just that model, no other Toyota hybrid, accounts for about 50 to 40% estimated of the entire hybrid market. That is insane for a single car to have that stronghold. And when you count in all the other Toyota hybrids that have been around since forever, that starts to look crazy, like 70% Toyota, right? What if you're not a Toyota fan? You just don't like Toyota. I'm fine with that. And you don't want a Toyota Prius. It's slow, it's clunky, you don't want one, right? You don't want to be the guy with the Prius. You don't want to be a guy with the slow Toyota hybrid. You want a different brand. You want a different brand philosophy, right? That's something that you want. Well, here I'm going to show you what I personally would buy. There are a lot of hybrids out there. I'm going for something from about 2010 to 2016. That's the highest I'm going to go here. Just because, remember, we want it to be in the peak of the Prius, because that's when the most good hybrid cars were made, when companies actually still had to try. Around this time, between like 2010 2016, the hybrid wars were over. Toyota had won, and every other small little dingy company, and I'm not talking about them in company size overall, I mean in hybrids, like Volkswagen, all these different car companies were starting to develop their own hybrid technologies, and that's when hybrids started to bloom. Nowadays, every single major car has its own hybrid variant. If I made a video about that, it'd be super boring. And here is the second Ford sedan version hybrid. And here is the 15th different Honda Civic hybrid. That would just be so boring. So I'm trying to nib these where they're unique and special in their own different ways, and each company is trying to having its own go. So, first of all, the first competitor with all of Toyota's things, specifically the Prius V, is my personal favorite. This is my favorite competitor to the Toyota Prius, the Ford C-Max. As you know, I like these cars. I love the Honda Fit. I love the Mercedes-Benz A-Class when it was out in the 90s. I just love these types of cars. These mom van, interesting cars, and I love it even more that it's a hybrid. One of the best car ever. They like to call it minivan, but actually the Toyota Prius, the Mazda MPV actually kind of pioneered this style, and then later on the Mazda 5. It's essentially, imagine taking a minivan. You take a minivan. You give it doors that open pretty normally, kind of, not really. I mean, this one, of course, does have the sliding doors, which is another thing that I love about it. And then you condense it, right? Like that apple juice where you pour in water and it gets bigger. You condense it rapidly, like Doctor Who going into the void or whatever. You just massively condense it. That's what this is. Now, I'm going to be using mostly Carvana here just because it's so easy. They have so many cars in there, and, the prices are okay. But, I mean, no other car brand or massive, a few of them can do this on CarMax, a few of them can do this on Auto Tempest. But really, what I really like about Carvana is the ability to actually see the car in great detail. So, this is a great minivan. There were two versions of it. You had this one with the weird opening side doors. Mwah, magnifique, perfect. And then you had this one, which is what we got, the standard C-Max hybrid. Now, from the outside, I would say this is one of the more attractive Ford models. It looks really nice. I think the fog lights work really well. Usually, there's only two grills, a top one and then a main one. This one has three, which I would say it looks kind of wonky, but it's not that bad. 5 lug nuts, which I really like, and then these tiny little wheels, which make it look like a normal everyday car, which I really like. This big, gigantic Ford butt that I really like. This is like reminds me of the Windstar or the Freestar or something. It looks like a Focus. It's just so fun, and it's just so Ford. Ford had their very distinct styling there for a little bit. I also like this black plastic sunroof. This black glass sunroof that goes up there. I think that looks really cool from the front, seeing those nice, thick, white bands going up and down the sides of the car. Very nice. The interior is Ford. Now, the one thing, good grief, they're really trying to sell this car. The one thing that I don't like about Ford is this. They always do this. They always put a gigantic hat on it. They always put this mediocre at best screen, that thing. They always make it not a touch screen and use the thing for some reason, and it's always hideous. That's just always how it ends up. I hate the steering wheel. I really do hate that. I hate Ford steering wheels. They're too clunky. They're ugly. I really don't like them. The shifter is in a weird place, and there's so much chrome everywhere. I could whine all day about this car, but it is cheap, good, reliable transportation. This is one of the more reliable Ford models, believe it or not. We can see the silver going up and down all the interior, push button start, which is nice. Controls down here, shifter, no little cubbies or anything. This weirdly shaped vent, like, I don't know, GM does this, all American car companies do this. I don't get why they do that. The door cards are pretty nice overall. The leather interior is... It's leather. I mean, there's nothing remarkable about it. It's okay. I mean, these cars aren't bad. And my favorite part about this, even if you want a plug-in hybrid, you can get the Energy, which is a plug-in version of the C-Max. In the interior, there's not much. Ooh, much nicer. This is the ivory leather, so I can show you just kind of how much better it is. I would definitely get the ivory. The black leather interior just make it look so dim. You know, it's such a dim, dark car. This, in my opinion, looks much better. So, if you're looking for, a Toyota Prius substitute, it's the C-Max. I don't care what your needs are in a car. This thing will handle them, just perfectly. Another thing that I love is because it's so short, it has to have the cutout there and the sliding door. This gigantic door just looks so hilarious, sliding forward and back. Just so weird. Yeah, this car meant a very different thing in the UK than it did over here. That's the one we got. This is the one they got. I mean, it's not, and you can tell because this has one big grill instead of our 3 grills here. They have the top grill and the bottom grill. Meanwhile, we had all 3. Very, very interesting. So that's the first substitution. For a regular Prius, I would say this is about a 8.5, 7, 7.9, 8. I think I'm going to rate it in 8.3. It's a very good competitor, slightly bigger, and I feel like it's a little bit less efficient, just because it's so big and you didn't get a real, normal option. The Honda Insight, the car that got laughed off. Now, this is the Toyota Prius competitor. Now, the reason why people didn't like the Insight, the reason why I don't like the Insight, is because of Honda, not because the car stinks. This was a very good competitor, very affordable, much cheaper than the Prius, not much cheaper, but cheaper than the Prius. Better value, in my opinion, sometimes on certain trim levels. I'm being very careful with my words. Yeah. It's ugly, yes, but you can get over that. And my favorite thing that they did with the Insight here was, number one, on the updated version, that awful, hideous catfish face. They partially fixed it. Yay, that looks a lot better. And these ugly, stupid hubcaps. First of all, it has 4 lug nuts, which makes it feel cheap. It looks cheap, and the alloy wheels just look like Satan. So, they put... My favorite version of this one, just because it was so insanely ugly, the wheels, was the one with the wheel covers, and even those were ugly. I really like the wheel covers. These are the fit wheel covers much better. The rear window is actually usable, which I like a lot. And I think overall, this is just a better car than the earlier version. This is like a 9, pre-update. Before it was updated, this car, that's like a 5.4, This one's like a 7.9. Not bad at all. The interior is, it's cloth. It's a Honda. It's weird. It's got that Honda jaggedness to it. It's not a bad car. You have your Almost Digital second gauge cluster for some reason. Your very standard Honda radio, which I'm just laughing at them for putting in. Of course, you have your climate controls that are all in a circle for no weird reason. And then your fan, and then your mode switcher. Just pretty simple stuff. Your plastic dashboard. I mean, come on, it's a Honda. What do you expect? You've got your no glove box. Again, this is what I didn't like about this car. Just on a rant. This car, look at it. You feel like when you're driving this car that this is the most techy, interesting, beautiful thing in the world. When I'm driving mine, I absolutely love it. You have a gauge cluster. You have everything, right? It feels like so much more luxurious than this car actually is. When you get in this car, you feel like you're camping in your own car. I mean, come on. You have one gigantic plastic piece for everything. Your cup holders are all the way back there and then all the way up there, meaning there's no in between. Your parking brake takes up half the entire thing, so, at least you can reach your manual parking brake. I mean, it just takes, the Prius was meant to design to be like the iDrive system. It drives for you. It's fine. You shift it into park, you press park, that's what it does. This system is just so much more clunky. The shifter's clunky. And, a regular shifter shifting a regular car, it just feels different. This one feels like the Prius shifter in that it's light and really dinky, except the Prius shifter is hilarious because of how dinky it is. You feel like a You can grab it with your 3 fingers. You feel like a very established gentleman. This thing just makes you feel like sloppy. Just clunk, clunk, clunk. And again, it's not because I hate the Honda Shifter or because I hate anything. It's just because since it's not connected to anything, I mean, normal ones aren't, but this one feels especially loose, at least the one that I was driving. It feels like an arcade simulation game. Like, the Prius feels ridiculous, but it knows it's ridiculous. This one's pretending to be something that it's not. You know, it's trying to throw you back to the manual era. This ain't it, Chief. You know, I mean, it's not a bad car. I think it's actually pretty nice. I have no qualms with it. The interior is pretty nice. I like the shape here. That's pretty stylish. I think the chrome is bad. I don't like that chrome. I think that's ridiculous. The power outlet isn't bad. The glove box is okay. Like I said, 7.9. It's this one, right? Not bad. People are buying these. We can see there's currently a purchase in progress. I actually like this one quite a bit. So, yeah. The next one is something that you would never see coming. The Honda Civic Hybrid. Now, my least favorite thing about the Honda Civic Hybrid, why I hate it, why I would never recommend this to anyone, specifically this generation, is those damn wheels. Honda, they had this weird phase where they were like sabotaging themselves. If it was a hybrid, the wheels had to suck real bad. They did this every single model. It was either the weird little stringy, too stringy ones or the weird like silvery matte ones. And they just made everything so weird about their hybrids, you know? Like, the Prius was weird, but in a charming way. This was just weird, you know? The blue lights. Ugh. Anyway, I found a listing that I would buy, and this brought this one. This one was like a 4. I'd rather have an Insight than this, especially with the hubcaps. Anyway, this car on itself, it's a 4.3. But I found one with different wheels. The customer swapped the wheels out, which is definitely what you should do. And you tell me that these wheels don't look better on this car. Say it to my face. Tell me those wheels. If you don't know, that's from the best Civic generation ever. Tell me that those don't make the car look better. They do. They're great wheels. They look great on this car. They look amazing on this car. They bumped this car up so high. This fake spoiler looks terrible. The taillights look cool, but they look awful. And you want to know why they look awful? Because they didn't change the reflectors. So the reflectors, it looks like this is aftermarket and your old Bob Bill had these sitting in his garage or something and then he swapped them out. Ugh. I like the wheels a lot. The tan leather interior is great. Everything's pretty great. One thing that I don't like about Honda is how they paint their plastics, which I hate it when any company does that. Honda does it in an unnecessary place. You know, not bad. Of course, you have your Econ button, and then you have your Toyota Mirai, like, I call it the Stonewall dashboard, where everything's just like, rah, right there. I will say this is a much better hybrid than the Insight is, just because you get a driver in for, information display. Not bad. It's very nice, and it's nice to just see what you're listening to on that screen. I actually like that screen better than my Prius screen. Mine, it's like that friend that talks your ear off. Gas prices have gone up since you last input your prices. You're driving less this month. I keep flipping through it, and it's like, oh my god, so many statistics. This one actually shows you what you're listening to. Meanwhile, the Prius screen just talks your head off about all the shit with the car. Like, I love the Prius. I love the way that it works. When I'm driving, I couldn't care less, right? This car is just more simple, right? It's very nice. Nice shifter. I like how they did that. That's kind of da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's the striping that. I feel unnecessary, but I like it. Of course, you have your hybrid battery vent back there, and then these nice, leathery seats. You have a nice trunk. The hybrid battery, Toyota this is why the Toyota designed the Prius instead of using a stock-built car. You're not fitting a Christmas tree. You're not fitting hockey. You're not fitting anything in this car that needs to pass through. Battery's right there. I'm sure you could tell. This is just a great hybrid. I would say this is a 9.9 comparison to the Prius. I would consider this over a Prius, probably. Now, I wouldn't buy it, but I would consider it. And that's high for me, considering my entire life I've studied the Prius. I know. The first time I looked at this, I said, something's not right. Volkswagen is very, 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 very slow to adapt any new technology. Not because they're bad or anything, just because I get it. They're trying to test it out, make sure that it's reliable. Their German engineering is unreliable enough that they can't just throw a new thing in the mix like EVs or whatever. They need to wait a few years to make sure that the technology is fizzled out. So seeing a hybrid Jetta really threw me off. I wouldn't expect that this would be the car they chose for the hybrid. But nope, yep, the 2016, well, technically 2015 Jetta was the first year of the hybrid. It wasn't a bad car. This Volkswagen car, not bad at all. We can see, I like that black plastic line. I know it's going to get fingerprints. I know it's going to get swirled and scratched up. Still not bad. The fog lights look nice. The wheels look hilarious, I think. I like the interior. Very snazzy. Gotta love the Jetta. Come on, It's also just bigger than the Civic is. It's nice. I've always liked the Jetta more than the Civic. I like it goes, like, if it's not a Corolla, then it goes Impreza, Jetta, Civic. I've driven in too many Civics and they're all terrible. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. The Civic is an amazing, great car, but compared to the other cars, I just like normal, boring cars. Just let me be boring, okay? The hybrid system connections are right there, which is good for This is something that didn't make sense the first time I looked at this car. Aren't the German cars supposed to cover everything up? Like, I know Toyota does that. Cars like, it's a joke, Mercedes, Audis, all those cars, Alfa Romeos. Foreign, especially German luxury cars cover everything up because they don't want you to see how badly it's engineered. Lexuses and Toyotas are covered up because you're never going to need to look at it. That's the point, right? So it's weird that they would put this on top. Like, I get that, probably electronics in there and they couldn't put it dripping under the condenser or anything stupid like GM did a few times. But why leave the plugs out? Why not just cover that in plastic? You have a plastic cover right there. Why not just expand it a little bit to the left? I mean, it's weird to have that exposed, but This, of course, also has that Volkswagen leather. This leather. For some reason, Volkswagen, Volvo, and those two have this leather. It's not, the grandpa leather that I talk about? This is like the opposite of that. It's taut. It's very taut, like a plastic bag almost that it feels like that's been stretched across like a tiny little. Imagine cutting open a sandwich bag and then springing it across your trampoline the same size as that. That's what it feels like. It's very thin and stretched out like they had to get one of those carpet stretchers where you have to pump it and go to put it on the seats. I mean, it's not bad, but it's very slippery. Like you sit in it, and it's not in the good way. Like when you get in an old Toyota Highlander or a Land Cruiser, you sit in there and you're sliding off the seat because it feels so nice and luxurious and tough and thick. This doesn't wrinkle, which is good, but it wears out faster because the wrinkles keep too much friction from happening because it just wrinkles and moves with you. These get a lot of wrinkles, although they're built Ford tough or whatever, so probably not going to happen. Again, I like this system. This is just intelligent. More people should just do this where they have the knobs and then the screens, or the screens and the knobs. That's just very, very great. It's just not a bad car. A very, very nice, not bad car at all. I mean, again, it's very clear to see where they put the battery. I'm sure no one's, where did they put the battery? It's very obvious. But this is an amazing deal. 2016, 11,000 for a 2016 anything is pretty decent. Inline 4 hybrid, not bad at all. Just a pretty nice vehicle, front wheel drive. What do you expect? Just very nice, very classic car. The last one on this list is the Subaru Crosstrek. The other day, I saw something that made my jaw fall so far into the ground that Satan tripped over my chin. I always thought, in my naive tiny little homunculus brain, that this used the Toyota hybrid system, right? That makes sense. Toyota and Subaru are friends. Right? Toyota and Subaru, they've worked together forever. So many different cars they've collaborated together. The BRZ, the EVs, even the future, they're still collabing on things. And this hybrid came out the exact same time that the next generation of the Prius did, 2016. Well, this came out in 2014. You know what I mean, right? And yet, it doesn't. Subaru developed their own hybrid system. That's strange to think about because it's something that you're probably not understanding. Subaru is a very small car company. Like, you think of them to be bigger. They're really not. They only have, tiny little amount of models, and that's just okay. That's fine, right? There's no issue with that. But them developing their own hybrid system, remember, getting an engine and an electric motor to collaborate together to work on something, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it's very expensive. When Toyota was developing theirs, they had the fire and everything, and Subaru developed it without anyone else's help. That's just so crazy to me to think about, that Subaru would put all the effort to develop their own hybrid system instead of just walking over to Toyota to say, hey, can we use this? And I get Toyota's probably pretty protective of it, but come on, Subaru. You're giving them plenty of cars. They could rebadge the Crosstrek for all you care. Come on. Just get the hybrid system. It's very interesting that they developed their own, and it seems to be pretty good from what I can tell. Not bad. So, yeah. I have a listing here. This is a 10 out of 10. I would buy this instead of a Prius. Why? Because the Prius and this are both good at separate things. The Prius is better on the road than this thing is, but this thing is just better off. This thing is just better off road. This also has the symmetrical 4-wheel drive system, which is amazing. The hybrid, you can see those wheels. I never really like the wheels, but they're not the worst. That Crosstrek front, again, that very stretchy leather. I forgot to mention, Subaru has like the shiny leather. This leather, the leather that's in BMWs. It's stretched very tight, but instead of being like that matte looking thing, it's more shiny. It's just shiny and slippery. Of course, you have your door cards there. They're very nice. An excellent amount of storage space, not as much as the Prius, but hey, come on, stop complaining. Just perfect. I love the Subaru steering wheel. I love the Subaru infotainment system. I love the screens up there. I love everything about this car. I've always liked Subaru. I'm not afraid to say that. When I heard that they were finally teaming up, I jumped 6 feet in the air. It's very, very nice, right? Again, the interior, perfect, very nice. And this is going to be a reliable car. It's not going to crap out on you. Very nice. I've seen that the screen is having some problems. It doesn't take a genius to notice that. That's going to need replacement. But overall, it's a very nice system. You just tap, 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 and it works. It's fine. Oh, and then it's all the crap. Okay, fantastic. But this is a very nice car. For $11,000 for a 2015, that is not bad at all. And for a base, this has plenty of technology. Very, very good. The all-wheel drive took me off guard, too. Probably why they didn't use Toyota's hybrid system. Anyway, with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon.